Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is we have a course that's been created. It's called Canvas Level Up. And what this course is, it's like a guide or a warehouse of all kinds of different how-to things that will help you throughout Canvas. If I show you just what we call the modules here, these are all different pages that have how to do different things inside of Canvas. Okay. We're going to be talking, a lot of what we're going to be doing is going to be referencing back to this Level Up course.
Excuse me, please.
Yes.
I have a question, please. What page are you? Are you on the website? I don't know where you are.
This is a Canvas course. You do not have access to it yet, but we'll be getting it to you after this training.
Okay.
This is a course that you have to be given access to. Okay, so you're just going to be viewing for today. We're not going to be interacting, and it's just going to be viewing. But in this course, this is where you would be able to find a lot of guides and resources to help you as you start moving your way into a classroom as a long-term sub. Let me do something real quick. There is, once you get access to it, there is a video here that kind of walks through how to navigate through this course, but I'm also going to provide you a little bit of that right now. We have some buttons down here. The getting started, we will be covering most of that today. And then as a long-term sub, you would want to achieve what's a level 1 status at least. Maybe dip your toe into level 2 a little bit, but level 1 will be the main one. And so we're going to go through an overview of what the level 1 means. Something else that you can do within this course is there's an I want to button here. And if I click on the I want to button, it gives me some options. So if I want to do something with communicating within Canvas, I've got a communicate button. And I can click on that. And then it's going to show me the different ways of that you can communicate through Canvas. If it's something you want to learn some more about what the calendar does, I can click Learn More About the Calendar, and it'll take me to a page that gives you an overview video of what the calendar is, and then has step-by-step instructions along with some screenshots to help you with moving through and how you add things to a calendar or to a course. I want to take a second to introduce Dan Perez too. Dan is in here helping us today. He is a digital learning coach, and he will be hopping in here when he has some extra things to add to this, because Lord knows I'm going to forget something. So that's why Dan's here, is to give me the backup that I need and to take the lead at times. So Dan, thanks for coming, bud.
Thanks for having me. Good afternoon, everybody.
Ooh, I love that voice. All right. When you start getting more comfortable with Canvas and you know exactly what you need, you can go through the modules and it'll list a whole lot of things that are there. And so you can search for the specific thing you want instead of trying to go through the I want to section. It's really up to you as to what the best thing will be. To begin with, I understand this is going to be overwhelming, but pretty much everything I talk about today has a page that's related to it inside Level Up. So it'll give you a chance to go back and review this as you need it. Okay. A couple other things that I wanted to show you before we move forward. The first one is I need to get to a different page. So let me get to the What's New in Fall of 2020 page. One of the key things that Canvas has added this year is this little button in the upper right-hand corner that's called Immersive Reader. And I just want to make you aware of that, because that is something that your students can use if you have students that struggle with the reading portion of it, but they need to get the concept or the content to themselves. So, and what Immersive Reader does is when I click on it, it will open up the page that is there, and it will expand the text so it's bigger, easier to read. They can do a whole bunch of different functions in it. But the biggest one is there's a play button down here, and you're not going to be able to hear it. But when I click, you're going to see this little box move, and that is, there is somebody reading it right now. And so that's a great tool for a student who may be in your class for the content, but may struggle with the reading portion of it. This will only work on the pages. If it's a quiz or an assignment, it will not work. And the other thing I want to talk about is on your dashboard. We're going to get to, well, you know what, I want to just get into dashboard right now. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to wait because when the dashboard comes up, Dan, I want to make sure I talk about published and unpublished. So I'm telling you just so that you can help me remember if I forget about it. Okay. So I'm going to actually go back to my Canvas Level Up course, and I'm going to go to the Getting Started section. And we're just going to kind of walk through what Canvas is, who uses it, and things like that. So Canvas is what our district has purchased as our learning management system. You'll hear LMS in places. That's what that stands for, Learning Management System. And there's a video here on this page when you get access to this if you'd like to listen to what Canvas has to say about themselves. They give a good overview of what it is as well. But essentially, Canvas is a learning platform that can be used whether you're face-to-face or if you're doing online, that provides the teacher a place to add content that they want the students to be able to access. The students can access it at any time. And then it also provides opportunities through different types of assignments and assessments that allow interactivity with the students. So you're not just giving them information. They're able to give you some feedback as well through different modes of assessments. Okay. And so we try to set up your Canvas course, or the teachers do, so they have in modules and what we call learning experiences. Okay, we want them to be able to experience the learning, and so we're going to get through a little bit later into what a module actually is and how you set it up and how we want it to flow. In our district, we have a wide variety of people that can access Canvas. All staff members should have a Canvas account. All of our 36,000 plus students have Canvas accounts, and parents of these students or guardians can have a Canvas account as well. That parent account should be automatically generated once the student account is active, as long as the parent has their information corrected skyward. As a parent, you are able to see any course that the student is involved in. Now, they can't see everything, like they can't see everybody else's discussions or assignments. They can only see what their child is directly involved in. And it's also an observer account, so they cannot submit assignments, they cannot do anything, but it allows them to see and experience the learning right along with their students. Okay. We also have some other people in the district that can meet some requirements. So if we have trainers that are coming in for special situations, we are able to, if they have the proper clearance, give them an account, and then we can remove that away. So pretty much everybody in our district has access to Canvas and uses it in some way. And so how is it used? These are just some of the ways that we're seeing Canvas being used. This is year 4 for secondary and year 3 for elementary using Canvas in our district. Last spring, as you probably all are aware, everybody became much more proficient in Canvas than they were before that. Whether they wanted to or not, that's what they ended up, because we ended up using this for all of our distance learning, and we will be again this year, as well as face-to-face learning. But we have some campuses now this year and last year that are actually creating a course for the entire campus that they can use to communicate through announcements or just uploading files or something that is important to all members of their staff, of their campus. All of the district curriculum is now inside of Canvas. So as you become a long-term sub, you will be given access to, like if you're a 5th grade ELA teacher, you'll be getting access to the 5th grade ELA curriculum through Canvas, and that's where you can access it for more resources. All campuses this year will be submitting their lesson plans in Canvas. That's how we're collecting all lesson plans. We have an onboarding resources Canvas course for staff. So that kind of helps them get going at the beginning of the year. How do you set up your email? How do you set up your Canvas course? Different things like that. Many of you have gone through this substitute orientation. That is a course that you have to go through in order to become a long-term sub. And then we have many different trainings that we are offering in the district as well. Okay, we're going to talk about the interface overview. I do want to show you it's all here as well, different things, but I'm going to just show you my dashboard. I think it's easier for us to work at it full screen. So once you become a long-term sub and you will log in with your district credentials. You'll be given a district email and password, or username and password. You'll land on the dashboard when you come into Canvas. On the left-hand side here, this blue bar is called the Global Navigation Bar, and this bar never changes. It is going to look the same for you no matter where you are in Canvas. It's consistent. So I always tell people, like sometimes we seem like we get kind of lost inside of a program and we're not sure where we are. You come back over here and click on dashboard and you'll get back to your landing spot so that you can start again. It's kind of like a help me escape type option, okay? On your dashboard here are what are called course cards. And these will show all of the courses that you have access to, whether you're a teacher in it or a student in it. And by clicking on a card, it will take you into the actual course, okay? You are able, as a when you log in on your dashboard, to move these courses around if you need to, so that you can organize them the way that it makes the most sense to you. Just by clicking and dragging them, you can move it wherever you want to. If, but for some reason, you think you should have access to a course, but you don't see it on your dashboard, there is a courses button here right below dashboard in the global navigation bar. And if I scroll down to the bottom of it, I have an all courses option. And I just want to show you that quickly just so you know where else you could look if something seems to be missing. This will list all of the courses that you have access to, every one of them, okay? As you can see on the left-hand side here, there is a star next to each one of them. And this one is filled in and this one is not. I have a bunch of courses that I have access to as a teacher or as a student. I don't want to see all these on my dashboard, and honestly, they won't all fit. I think there's a limit of about 20, I believe, that will go on your dashboard. By clicking on the stars, if I fill in the star, that means that I have favorited that course and that is on my dashboard. If the star is empty, that means that it is not on my dashboard, and if I want to see it, I'd have to come to the courses button. The other thing I wanted to talk about before I forget, something that can be important for you as a long-term sub. Canvas takes their dashboard and they break it down into two sections, published courses and an unpublished courses. If the course is published at the top here, that means that students are able to see it and the things that are inside of it. If the course is unpublished, even if there are students in it, they cannot see anything. So if you have a student saying, I can't see your course, the first thing that you would check is it listed under my unpublished courses, and do I need to just click the button to publish it if you're ready? Dan, anything to add for me right now, bud? Or does anybody have questions?
And just by default, we have a question coming in.
Yeah, I see.
But by default, when you get your courses that are going to be generated from Skyward, first of all, just a couple of things related to Skyward and Canvas. You might see a roster of students in your courses inside Skyward, but you may not see them in Canvas. Things are moving very quickly on our campuses, so it usually takes a day, maybe even two, but usually just a day for you to see those changes inside Canvas. And also by default, your courses are going to be unpublished, so you'll need to publish them for ready to go. And don't be worried if you need to publish them like right now. As soon as you get them, students are not going to have access to them until Monday is when they'll actually be able to see them. Right, Paul?
Yes, but I don't know if there's anybody in here that is starting a long-term sub on Monday. I think these are people who are signing up so they can be long-term subs. So,
oh, okay. Even better.
Yep. Mr. Goy, did you have a question for us?
I have a quick question. So what did this replace? I mean, you still have like all the other, because I didn't use Canvas. It's been 3 years in elementary, and I didn't do any long terms last year, but the year before that, I probably did about 4 of them. I don't think I used Canvas. So what was it?
If you were in elementary, if it was elementary 2 years ago, if you were in elementary 2 years ago, Canvas was there, but they weren't using it very much. It was just barely getting started with them. That was like the first year that they could even possibly utilize it.
Okay, so another question. So as a long-term sub, when you would come in, unless you had the teacher's login and ID, you really didn't have access to things. And I
So
know
that's a
when
good question.
have their login and ID, so whatever, we didn't have it, but you really had access to nothing. So what's our login here? And because you're saying we're going to see the roster, we're going to see this, are
Yep.
you going to, did you guys
Okay,
change?
I got you. I got you. So what's going to happen is when you are taking on a long-term sub assignment, the campus has something that they need to turn into me. They fill out a form to let me know who you are, who you're going to be subbing for, and how long you need to be there. I add you to the courses that are in the student courses in Canvas, as well as to the curriculum courses. And then I set a calendar reminder on my calendar of when your time will be up. I contact the campus, make sure that you are in fact not going to be long-term subbing for whatever teacher it is, and then I remove you from those courses. So
Okay,
you're going to have an email, an LCISD email that would be assigned to you, and you're going to go to Canvas or through ClassLink, because they're also setting up ClassLink for long-term subs now. Click on Canvas inside of ClassLink. It will log you in, and the courses that you are supposed to be utilizing are going to be on your dashboard. You will be
Okay,
listed as a teacher in that course.
Canvas doesn't change anything about like it wouldn't to put grades in, to put absences in and all that, like getting into Skyward.
That's still Skyward. That's still Skyward. Now there is an option with Canvas if you do grades in Canvas that you can pass them back to the Skyward gradebook. We're going to hit on that a little bit later. Not going to go very deep, but we're going to at least let you know that it's possible.
Okay, thanks.
Matt left the main room to go to a breakout room with someone, and he's the host of the meeting, so no one else can shift over. I'm just going to tell him.
I'm just reading through to make sure that we don't have any other questions. And I see Miss Neal is saying that she's assigned as a long-term sub Williams for the Williams Library. The librarian's a little bit different in that they don't have any Skyward generated courses, Miss Neal. It's Miss Smith, I think, is the normal librarian at Williams, or the librarian at Williams, and she may have a course that she's putting together or has put together for her students. That would be a conversation between you and her as to whether you're going to be doing anything with it.
Right. Yeah, I've got her. We've got already the lesson plans. It's just I don't know how I'm going to set up. But I've been long-term sub at last year for 3 assignments, so I'm very familiar with the Canvas.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's very good to have.
Yes, and so if Ms. Smith has made you would make you a teacher in her course, if that's a possibility, you could do that. I'm not sure how my wife's a librarian, so I'm not. I know that this year it's like, oh my God, we don't know for sure what's happening. So
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of Zoom lessons and stuff Okay, thank you.
All right.
I think Ms. DeGoy actually asked a good question earlier too, like what was before Canvas? It was also up to the discretion of the teachers. So some of them may have been using like Seesaw. Also Edmodo was very popular back in the day, but a lot of those were managed by the teacher on the teacher level. And so if you even hear of anyone trying to use any of those tools still, we're trying to make sure that they stay away from that, because Canvas is our main avenue. That's the big boy that we actually support from a learning management system side, like what Paul shared out earlier.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, if as a long-term sub, they have to go online, just say they have to go online, where will or how will the subs be able to teach then?
You will be teaching through Canvas, and they will also we have what's called Zoom that you're on right now. You will probably be given, more than likely be given a Zoom account or some links to Zoom that you would be teaching the kids that way. So you would have a set time to connect with them. It will depend on what you teach. Like for elementary, some elementaries are doing Zooms almost every day. Some are alternating on days. In secondary, I think it kind of depends on the subject area, whether you're going to be doing a couple days a week, and they might even tell you what days you'll be connecting with them, just to keep it so it's a little bit spread out for the kids, so they're not constantly Zooming. But that will be when you get to your campus, you'll get more information about that.
Okay, so if we do sub, do we have to go in, like if they say, well, everybody's going online, will we have to go in, or will we be able to do it remote?
All teachers, whether they're teaching online or face-to-face, are expected to report to the campus every day. And I see a question here, but Ms. Guerra, I think the email just means that, I don't think it means that you are necessarily a long-term sub right now. It just means that you've been okay to be a sub at that campus. But any questions related to, am I a long-term sub here or there, I can't answer and Dan can't answer. We're on the digital learning side, so we're here to train you on Canvas. I don't know all the answers for the, am I a sub here, what do I do, and things like that. So just warning y'all, I might be saying that a few times. Oh, and I see Patricia said, please email me that question. Thank you, Patricia.
Paul, when you said that we need to achieve at least level 1, what do you mean? We need to log in ourselves?
I want to walk through all that as we go through, okay? By the time you're done, you should have a pretty good understanding. I'm going to show you some of the things that are involved in level 1. Okay. All right, so now that we've seen what you land on when you hit the dashboard, I want to show you what it looks like when you actually go into a course. Okay, so I'm going to go to this course here. You see the global navigation, even though I am in a course, I'm in a mathematics 4th grade course. The global navigation has stayed the same, but we now have what's called course navigation right here. These are hot links that can take you to different parts of Canvas by clicking. As you can see here too, some of them do not have this little eye, and some of them have an eye with a line crossed through it. I'm looking at this from a teacher standpoint right now. Anything that does not have an eye, or anything that has an eye here with the line through it, means that students cannot see this and cannot access it. And the district sets what we believe are the right things up at the top for you already, as far as what the students should be able to access. Some teachers will change this based on what they're doing in their classroom, but for the most part, this will not need to be changed. Something that will be important for you, and I'm going to do it now so that this helps. When I'm on my home page, the very top option is home. That's what this is. It's a landing page for students. On the right-hand side here, there's some options, and student view is the third from the bottom. When I click on student view, I get this pink banner that goes around it, and now I am seeing what a student should see. So if we look back at this course navigation again, all of those options that had the eye with the line through it are not showing anymore. They're hidden for a student, which is what we want. The less options we can give students over here, I think the better, because if there's more, they get lost in it as they go. And so I'm going to stay in student view so you can kind of see what it would look like for a student, and we're going to keep talking a little bit about the course here. This is the home page, and every Skyward generated course that students will access should have this type of format. It's been pushed out to their course that we're asking teachers to keep, so that it is a consistent area for parents and students to land on. When they click on a course, this is where they should be. We've got a little welcome area that's got like a welcome video that the teacher can put in there. Contact information, email, phone number for their voicemail, the schedule information when things are happening, and then we're asking that they put a little about me blurb, just a couple of sentences, nothing too deep, just something easy. We want this to be consistent again, so that when a parent comes in and says, I need to contact the teacher, I want to know what their email address is, they should be able to click on the course and it should automatically send them, by scrolling down to contact information, it'll show them what the email is. You'll also see at the top, there is the ability to have announcements in Canvas, which we'll be walking through how to do that later on as well. But the most 3 recent announcements will appear right here on the top. If students need to see anything older, they can always click on announcements over here to visit it as well. But it's just like a little quick, oh, there's something new for me, let me check out what it is type environment. Okay. I'm going to leave student view now, clicking on the bottom right in pink.
something fun.
I mentioned a little bit earlier, what we really want our teachers to focus on this year, one of the things is that they are creating their learning experiences for their kids in modules. So on the left-hand side here, my course navigation, I have modules, and I just want to show you what that looks like. Okay. This is a module. I consider it almost like an outline of your learning experience. So for this 4th grade math class, the first unit that we're going to talk about is perimeter and area, and this is the module title right here. Underneath it is where we have all the things that would be the students' learning experiences. Okay. As you can see, some of them are broken, or they're broken down by days. So I've got my Monday, my Tuesday, my Wednesday, and I also want you to notice that these up at the top have a little green circle with a check mark. That means that those are published. Anything that is published, a student can see. These down here at the bottom are not published. They just have the line. If I want to publish them, I just have to click on the little icon next to it, and it will publish it for me. This year, one of the things that the teachers will hopefully be doing as well is they're going to break up their learning experiences into days so that the students, when they come in each day, know what is expected of them. We are also asking teachers to not publish things that are happening later on in the week. By the state, our funding is dependent on us being able to prove that students are interacting and learning every day. And so in the springtime when we did this, everything was published, and it was kind of like, you've got the week to finish all this. You do it at your pace. In this fall, we're changing it. It's going to be much more rigorous, and it's going to be, these are the things I want you to do on Monday. I don't want to show them what's happening on Tuesday until Tuesday comes. So you as a long-term sub, one of your responsibilities will more than likely be to log in to Canvas every morning and click on these little icons over here to publish whatever day it is. That way the students can see it and interact with it that day. Any questions up to that point? Or Dan, anything you want to?
I have a question.
Sure.
Please, will this be available to us through, I don't know, for whatever mechanism, so that we have an opportunity to practice before going to school?
Yes. So I'm recording this. I will tell you, I was recording it this morning too, and I lost power halfway through it. So I had 89 people waiting on me to get back in there. So that recording got ruined, but I'm hoping the recording will be lasted, and we'll post it for you to have access to. And I'm also going to give you access to the Level Up course that has all of the guides and things that you can look through and research before you get started.
Excellent. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes.
If I get
Excuse
you
me?
correctly, does it mean that
Go
the
ahead.
long-term sub and the teacher is going to be loading what he or she wants the long-term sub to do prior to the sub publishing this for the kids?
So that's a difficult question to answer, and I don't know that I have the right answer for you. In most cases, when long-term subs, when it's a planned long-term sub, like when the teacher knows they're going to be away, the teacher will have been preparing this in advance so that there will be things available for you to just publish when they're needed. But there are times when it's an emergency and the long-term sub needs to start right now, you know, whether it's an illness or an injury to a teacher, and they might not have had time to do this. In those situations, each campus may handle it a little bit differently. One thing that I know does happen on some campuses is other teachers that teach the same thing in the same department or the same grade will provide you some things that you can use. And I'm gonna walk through a little bit later how you can actually import course content into your course. So the teacher can say, this is what I need you to put in here, and you can drop it right in there so it's ready to go. If you are long-term though, I'm sure will be times when something that's in here will have to be edited or changed in some way. So in a little bit, we're gonna go walk through what's called the rich content editor that kind of shows you how you can make changes on pages if it needs to happen.
Zoom bomber.
Okay.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Sure.
So are we gonna be?
You're freezing up, ma'am. I can't hear you. You're freezing up.
Come to the classroom?
You'll have to start again. Your voice is freezing up as you're talking.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Try again.
Okay, my question was, are we gonna be studying from home, our private homes, or we're going to come to school and
You
use the
have
school
to come
computer?
to school. You have to come to school.
Okay.
It is a requirement for all teachers to come to school at this time. Now, could things
Okay.
change? Yes, but right now it is required, even if you're online teaching, that you come to campus every day.
Okay, okay. So we're gonna be using the school devices?
Yes, there should be a desktop available in every classroom that you can use. As far as other devices, that's something you have to ask the campus when you get there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I'm going to walk through the different parts that are in a module since we are here, and then we're going to look at how you can edit some of these things. So underneath a module are all these different options here that are called module items. Okay. The first one that's here that just says Monday is called what's considered a text header. And what that does is just a landing place. It's just a spot holder. I can't click on it. I can't do anything. This is just a way for us to say, hey, students, this is what you need to do on Monday. So it's separating out your learning. Any icon that looks just like a sheet of paper is called a page. And what you use a page for most often than not is to share content with students. There's no interaction. They're not responding back to anything. You are just providing content for them, whether it be a video that you've recorded or something that maybe you pull from Khan Academy or YouTube or a video from another teacher. It could be text. It could be links to files, things like that. Okay. This one that has the two little speech bubbles is called the discussion, and we'll go over this. Let me show you. A discussion allows you to ask a question, and this is an interactive one where the students will reply back, and they can either reply back via text or they could even record a video or audio of themselves and reply that way. So this is a great way as a formative assessment to get a quick feedback on students to see if they're really understanding what you're talking about. You also then as a teacher have the ability to supply feedback, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. There are also options for you to do what's called a threaded reply, or the other teacher may have it set. By default, all this is you ask a question, they answer, and it's done. You can check a box to make it a threaded reply to where maybe Mr. Goy responds with something, and then Mr. Squires has a question about that, so he can reply to Mr. Goy's response asking that question. And you can have a continuous conversation going. But you as a teacher have control over which one of those it is.
What do you use to keep the thread going?
They just keep replying back and forth to each other.
Okay.
So right here is the question. The student would hit reply, and they could put in their answer like Student Panda did here. Then if I wanted to reply back to Student Panda, I can click the reply here on their response. If I want to respond to the original question, I click reply underneath it. So
okay, just
like
a regular email.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
But like if I reply, it'll show up directly underneath this person's comment. So it's like a little stream that happens there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. This next one here that has a little chain link, that's an external URL. And so it means that it will link out to a website that you may want the students to practice something on. So if you see a little icon like that, this one embeds right inside of Canvas. And I can, if you're talking with area, I can go to the game and choose my level. And now it says I want an area of 36, and the kids can interact with this and drag up whatever they need to. They can check their answer to see if they're right or wrong, things like that. Not all websites work this well. Some do not embed at all, but you could still put the link there so that the students can get to it. We have these here. If it's a sheet of paper that has a little pen on it or pencil on it, those are our assignments. And so as a student, I should be in student, let me do student view. Let me go to student view so you can see what it would look like for a student. And of course I don't have that published, so I can't see it. Why didn't you catch that, Dan? Oh, I know I can't do it in this course. Let me come to this course. That's a different one that's being used for something else. I can publish it here. Here, this PowerPoint is one I can use. Sorry about that.
That shows you how we could be lost in the classroom doing this.
Exactly, we all get there, don't we? Forgot to turn something on, got to go back and do it. From a student's aspect, if I click on PowerPoint, this is one where they're submitting a website. So if I can click on the submit up here, and it's going to show down here where I can paste in my answer. Okay, this is an example of a website, but they can type in text, they can turn in a file like a Word document, they can record videos and put the videos in there. There are different options that you can create with an assignment on how they or what they turn in. Okay, so that's where a student would do it. There's a blue button up here to submit, and then they put in what their answer is, and then they click submit, and it will turn it in for them.
Teachers are asking all those questions that you just mentioned. How to address that and how to
The one with the little spaceship icon, space shuttle, are quizzes. There are multiple types of questions that you can put inside the quizzes. Those again will more than likely be created for you but Canvas will actually grade it themselves. You don't even have to do it. It'll grade it for you unless there's a short-term answer where they have to type something in, then you would have to go award points. But if it's multiple choice or anything, the Canvas will grade it for you.
I have a question, please.
Sure.
Will they, as a long-term sub or just regular day in, day out sub, who has the primary responsibility for creating all this?
What I mentioned, as I said before, it depends on the situation. If it's a planned long-term sub, like maybe someone's having a baby, maternity leave, then in most cases, the teacher will probably have most of this created beforehand. If it's an emergency situation where a sub has to come in, then I would guess that a lot of that responsibility is going to fall on the department or the grade level. It kind of depends on what you're teaching and where you're teaching it. If you're in high school teaching algebra, then I would think other algebra teachers would be responsible for helping you. But it just kind of depends on the situation.
Coming up with, I think it's we started that, and that's where we kind of talked back and forth.
Okay.
So we'll continue.
If you want to add different types of content to a module, first to add a module, you have the little plus sign up here. And I click on the plus, and I can name it test module. And once I click on that, it will show at the bottom here. It creates it at the bottom. If I want to move this around by using these 8 little buttons right here, I can click and drag this up, change the order of where I want the module to be. Okay. And then if I want to add something to the module, I now, across this little gray bar here, have a plus sign that lets me choose what I want to assign, whether it's an assignment, a quiz, a file, just a page, a discussion. We talked about the text header. So that's how you would add something. I'm gonna add a page right now. And I'm going to call it the Rich Content, RCE for the Rich Content Editor, because that's what we're going to get into next. And are there any questions that I'm missing? I see Miss Uma has her hand raised. I see you asked about being excused from the pharmacy, and Miss Kibbe signed or mentioned below that you have to stay to the end in order to be paid for this. So if you're not here at the end, then we cannot give you credit for it. Did you have a different question, or was that the one? I want to lower your hand, but if you have another question, please come off mute to ask it. And I see the question of, is there going to be a recording? Yes, I'm recording it right now, so the plan will be to have it up and available for you, and we'll share out where that is at that time. At the end, you're going to be filling out a form that will give us your name and the email address that you use with the district to talk to HR. And so we will make sure that you have all the information that you need.
Mr. Wagner, can I make a comment?
Sure.
So last year I did several long-term subs at Polly Ryan. My children are in the district, so I was used to, as a parent, Canvas, but I really got to learn how to use Canvas. And then I was at my assignment at Williams when everything got shut down, and I had to do lesson plans and everything. So at first, it sounds like a lot of the subs are questioning this, but to be honest with you, this is so easy to use. You got to look at it, you got to go over the training, but it's really a great system, and not to be afraid to use it, and you find your answers. I was able to help some teachers like, oh, I know how to do this because I figured it out. So it seems like overwhelming, but it really isn't. Once you just take the time to look how to use it, it's really a pretty cool, it's very nice to use.
Thank you for sharing with that. That's good.
Okay.
That's good and reassuring for people. It's
Yes.
not me telling them, it's somebody who's experienced it.
Yes,
so thank you.
it is.
Ms. DeGoy, you asked about embedding things like Kahoot and quizzes. Yes, those things can be embedded. And even for those that can't be, you can insert links so that the students can click on it and it can take them there. So they're not sitting there trying to type in a long link for you. They can just get to it easily that way. Okay. Dr. Reddy, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do well with your last name.
That's me.
Yeah, see, you have your hand raised. What
Yes.
question do you have?
You may not have the answer, just a question. Do you know the percentage of students that are returning on campus versus those that are virtual?
So it's about, I think, 55 or 60 online, 45 or 40 face-to-face. But campus to campus varies. Some campuses have more face-to-face than online. Some have more online than face-to-face. It just kind of depends on where you would be. And I don't know all those numbers off the top of my head.
Okay, one more question.
Okay.
Do we have, I know mask and the temperature checks. Are there anything else like PPE that will be available for us?
That is not a question I can
information?
answer. That's an HR.
Okay.
Have to human resources for that. So
Okay.
remember, I'm just the Canvas guy.
Okay. Just checking, Mr. Pretty
No,
Face.
I know you had to give it a shot. I know you had to give it a shot.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and move on to the Rich Content Editor. I'm going to show you just a few things in it. I haven't talked about this Level Up course. All the things that I've been talking about, like learning about modules and everything like that, that is all in here. How to add modules, how to add, let me go to the Level 1 training so I can show you. Mr. Goy, I'm getting back to your question. So these are the things that are Level 1 training. Update your profile, you're not going to have to necessarily worry about because the teacher's profile will be there. And update the home course page is pretty much done. Announcements, calendar, modules are the ones, and we can look at the navigation is what I talked about, having the right things showing here that have eyes and don't have. But announcements, calendar, and then if you click on modules, it gives you an overview. I talk about what modules are. I talk about how you add modules and how you can move modules around. All of that is located in here. The next thing that we're going to do is rich content editor, and that's actually in one of the things in level 2. The beginning of level 2 is module items. So it talks about the different items, what a page is, what a quiz is, and how you can make those in case you would need to do that. But I'm going to talk about the rich content editor next. And this rich content editor is the toolbar that appears anytime you're going to edit something in Canvas. Whether you're in an announcement or on a page or a discussion or a quiz, you will see this same toolbar. So inside this level up course, I've broken it down into different sections. The first section is just like your bold, your italics, your underline, which pretty much everybody has experienced at one time or another, I would think. The second part is justification. So do you want it in the middle, on the left, or the right? Do you want bullet points? Again, most of that you have covered. My big focus today is going to be 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to hit on those a little bit so that you can see what those are and how they work. Okay. If I'm on this page in level up and I want to learn how to add a picture, I can see number 4 is add a picture. If I don't know that for sure, I can scroll down until I see insert and edit images. And then underneath that section, I have the process that I'm going to show you, but I have step by step the process showing how you can add an image to the course. So again, we're not expecting you to be masters by the time you leave this, but we want you to at least have an idea of what you can do and where you can go to get some information on it. So I'm going to open up I'm going to click on the link here. I made this page. I'm going to click on the link for the rich content editor. And I had some things in here from earlier, so I'm going to get rid of it so that we can start with a blank page. Let me start again from the beginning. When I get to this page, when I want to work with it, in the upper right-hand corner as a teacher, I have an edit button. Students do not see it. They can't make changes. And I'm going to highlight this again to get rid of it. And I'm going to click this, drag these dots down so it makes my window a little bigger so it's easier for you to see things.
Please, I lost you. I don't know. I can't see you anymore.
I don't. I only see your picture too. I don't see your video anymore.
It says your microphone. I don't know.
If your picture, can you click on your screen? Do you have an option for?
The only thing I have option is it says I'm on a safe driving mode. What does that mean?
Are you? That looks like they're trying to get you from watching videos while you're driving.
No, I'm
moving in a car?
Living room. I'm sitting in my living room.
I don't know how to help you with that one because I don't.
Maybe she should log out and log back in.
Maybe you can try to click out and come back in. We'll let you back in when you get there.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So within this area, this toolbar will always appear, and even if you are scrolling down in your page, the toolbar stays at the top, so it's easy for you to see. I'm not going to cover these areas. I just want to cover these 4. The first one is to insert a link. So if you want to share a hyperlink with the students, kind of like Mr. Go Ahead asked, if you want to go to quizzes or something another website to practice or to see some more information, I can click on this little icon with the chain link, and I can choose to add an external link. When I click on that, it gives me 2 fields. The top one is a text field. This is what the students will see. So as you're adding a link, like if you're going to someplace, sometimes it's a really long link with all kinds of characters, and if the students see that, they wouldn't know what they're going to anyway. So I can put text in the top link, or in the top bar, and in the bottom bar field here, I can type in the website. And then when I click done, it shows LCISD homepage, so the kids know when they click on this link, it will take them to the LCISD homepage. It gets rid of the actual web address and replaces it with text that's more understandable for the students. Okay, so again, to do that, I have this little chain link here, which is a common symbol. I go to external links, I can add text at the top, and I add my link on the bottom, and I click done, and it will drop in something that looks like this. Okay. The next one that we have are images, to upload images. So if I click on the little icon. I do have course and user images, just so you know what those are. Those are images that are already uploaded to this particular course by somebody that has teacher access. You'll see that there are a bunch of different pictures here that we can do. So if I want to bring this button back in here, I can click on it. Since it's already inside of Canvas, it'll drop the button on there for me, and then I can mess with it. Okay. If I click on the picture itself, I get some little blue dots. Those are called marquee handles. And that's how I can make my image bigger or smaller based on my needs. But keep in mind, if you make the image too big, it'll start to get fuzzy. So the size of your image to start with is going to make a difference for you. Okay. And again, so that was under the image, little image icon, and I went to course images. When I click on that, this window pops up on the side and it shows me all of the images that have been added to this course in the past. The other option that I want to show you is just to upload an image. So it's possible that you have something that you've created that's already saved to your device, to your computer. I can click on computer is by default. I click on my upload image. I can go and find an image somewhere. Here we go. I can put it in and I hit submit and it will drop that image in here for me so that it's ready to go. Again, just like the other one, if I click on it with the marquee handles, I can make it bigger or smaller based on my needs. Okay. You cannot copy and paste an image into Canvas. You'll be able to see it, like if you had one and you copy it from a Word document and paste it in here. Text you can copy and paste, but an image you cannot. And the reason being is because it's a website and the website has to have the actual file there for it to keep referring back to so it knows what to show. You may see it, but the student will see a little broken picture link that will be there. One last option I want to show you just really quickly from images is under upload image, we have something called Unsplash that is built into Canvas. If you are looking at just uploading or finding a stock image, like maybe you're talking about a city and you want to type or you want a picture of a city, I can type in city. It shows me 10,413 pages that are 12 pictures per page. And these are all copyright-free images. So you can use them without having to worry.
I think we needed to go through our process.
So as I click on that and submit, you're going to see that that picture shows up. And you can see it's a nice high-quality picture as well. Now that won't work for everything, but sometimes if you're just looking for a filler or something that makes sense, you can do it. And again, if I click on the picture, I've got those marquee handles. I can change the size to whatever I need to. That's it for images. The next one is to do media, which would be a video or an audio file. That's the one that's got the little play button with the music note. If I click on it, I've got the course media option again, which is anything that exists already you could add. But otherwise, you're going to upload media. Just like a picture, you could browse on your computer to find the video or the audio file if you have it saved to your computer. But you also have the ability to record right here inside of Canvas. So next to computer is a record button. Right now, usually you would see your video or webcam image show up here if you have one. Since I'm using my webcam for the Zoom call, it won't work. It doesn't show here. But I'm still able to use a microphone to record. So I hit start recording. It gives you a little countdown. Hi students, welcome to this week's learning. This week we're going to be learning about area and perimeter. When I'm done, I can preview it, listen to it, see if I like it. If I don't like it, I can start over. If I'm good with it, I can click save. And it's going to drop a little player in here that when I save it, the student will be able to play and listen to it, whether it's audio or video. Okay, so again, that's found under my little media one, which is the little play button with the music note. And then the last one that I want to show you is to upload a document. So this is like if you have a PowerPoint or you have a Word document or a PDF you want to put in here. I can choose to upload document. I'm going to click on it. I want to find an actual document. Oh, should have been more prepared.
Please, 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 please.
And once I find the file, I click submit.
So glad to see you.
It's going to drop the link to the image there, or to the file there. And I'm going to save it this time so you can see it. It's going to show the link to the file. If I click on that link, it's going to download a copy of that file to my computer so that I can look at it. But right next to it is a little picture with a little magnifying glass. And if I click on that, it will actually open up a preview of that file right here in Canvas, so the kids do not have to download it. They can just access it from here if they want to. Okay. Any questions, or Dan, anything else that you would add from the rich content editor? I want to give you an idea of what it can do, but I don't want to go so far in that it's impossible to remember any of it.
I mean, the only other thing I can think of is one, I mean, kind of Paul, same, anytime that you're adding stuff to Canvas, you're going to see that rich content editor pretty much everywhere. Another beautiful thing too is that he was showing us a lot of those very powerful tools. And sometimes depending on how the students are able to give you feedback, a lot of times they see that same tool as well. And so they have some of the same features, like doing the audio recording as a response or something powerful too. So it's very powerful, not only on the teacher end, but on the student end as well.
Anyone else have anything to ask or add?
And I didn't communicate to you well what the goal was.
To get here, you clicked on pages on the left?
So I would always start, if I'm building, I would start in modules.
Modules, okay.
Then I created this test module here.
Mm-hmm.
When I come way to the right-hand side of it, there's a little plus button. That's where I can choose to add something new. Like I chose to add a page. So this drop down says, what do I want to add? You could add it from pages on the side, but then you have to try to find it again to put it in your modules. I think it's easiest for you to start in modules and just build from there.
Okay.
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 And then once I make that page, then it's going to show up here and I can just click on the name of it to start editing it.
Okay. Okay. And this is if we want to add modules or just to put things in order for how they're going to access.
Any content. Yep. Any content or anything that you're adding to Canvas, you would add this way.
Oh. All right. Thank
you. Yes, ma'am.
At 2 o'clock today, be able to turn over to teacher.
Mr. Goy, until you are a teacher in a course, you would not have access to create a test module or a sandbox. But if the time comes, if you feel that that's something that's important for you, let me know, and I can make a sandbox course for you and add you as a teacher. I don't think that would be a problem to put inside your course so that you could get some practice as you go. Do you get access codes to Edgenuity and passwords? If I would imagine, yes, if you are teaching a course that has Edgenuity content that they want you to use, you're going to have access to that content. So I do know that all the Edgenuity content that we are paying for is being added into Canvas already in a section, so that you might not even need the username and password to add the content, but you would probably need it if you wanted to grade something in Edgenuity itself. As well as Canvas, yes. Once you become a long-term sub, you will be getting a username and password from the district. That's an LCISD credentialed password. And you will be added as a teacher to the courses that exist. You will log in with that username and password into Canvas, and all the courses that you should need access to will be there available on your dashboard. I see a question a little earlier about classes, in-person and virtual classes running concurrently, handled by the same person. It depends on the grade that you're teaching and the subject that you're teaching. In elementary, I don't believe there's going to be anything where a teacher is going to be doing both. I don't know that for sure. In secondary, most of the classes will be both have both face-to-face and online students in it. Oh, I'm sorry, Dan, you answered that. If I'd have read a little lower, I'd have seen that. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about while we're still kind of in the modules discussion is how you will be able to import content. Again, the directions for this are in the Level Up course, so I don't expect you to remember all of it, but I do want you to see that it is possible. This would be a situation where maybe you've got another teacher that's in your department or on your grade level that says, I've got a module that I want you to put into the course for this teacher so that students can walk through it. Okay. You would go to the course that you want to have the module put into. So I'm going to use my sandbox course here so I don't mess up anything else. And I'm going to go to settings. And then way on the right-hand side here, there's an import course content button. When I get here, the first thing it's going to ask me is, what kind of content do I want to do? You will always choose copy a Canvas course. Okay. And again, these directions are step-by-step in the Level Up course. This next one, mine looks a little different than yours is going to. Since I have access to many courses, I have to actually type in a name to search for a course. You will just have a little drop down that will let you pick, and you can only choose courses that you have teacher access to. So I'm going to look for my sandbox. Okay. I'm going to choose my sandbox course. Then you have an option of, do I do all content or specific content? You will more than likely never do all content. You are going to choose specific things that you want to pull in. You're not going to want to pull all of something in. And then I'm going to click import. At the top here, it says course copy. This is what I want to import from. And it's waiting for me to choose my content. So I'm going to click on select content, and you're going to see a bunch of options here. I would imagine as a long-term sub, the only one you're going to have to worry about is modules. Okay, so if I check this box, there are 13 modules in that course that I'm pulling from. It would pull all 13 modules in. I don't want that. I'm looking for one module right now that I want to use. So I'm going to click the little drop-down arrow next to it, and it's going to show me a list of all the modules that are there. I want the parent training. That's what I'm interested in. So I'm going to select parent training. If I wanted two of them, I could choose two modules. In this case, I'm only going to choose one though. And then I'm going to select content. It says right here it's queued. In a second, it'll say running, and then it'll say complete. Or it says complete because there's not much in that one. After it says complete, if I click back on modules over here and I scroll to the bottom, here is that parent module that I was looking at. Okay, so as long as I have teacher access and I know what module I'm looking for, that information should come from your partner teacher or whatever, I'm able to bring in all of a module in one little shot like that. Again, if this is important and I need it right away, I can click on these dots and I can drag it up to the top so that it is now the first thing that they will see. Okay. I do see right here, I can't remember if I talked about this. I think I did, the publish and not publish. This module, while the pages or the discussion and the page is published in the module itself is not. So students and parents still could not see it. I'd have to click this to make sure that it's visible for them as well. I also have the ability, just like I move my modules around, I can drag my different items around to the right order that I think is best. Or maybe I didn't get to this social studies assignment on Monday, so I'm going to drag it down into Tuesday, and that's what we're going to start with. You do have that ability if you need to.
Lindsay's us.
Yes, they will be changed if I'm dragging things around. It is changing it or saving it as I go, so there wouldn't be an undo, Mr. Goy. But if it's in case of just me dragging things around, I can just pull it back to the order that I want it to be. as you're editing content itself on pages and stuff, there is the save button that you need to use.
And like Paul was saying with that save button, anytime you're working on something or editing something, please make a habit of scrolling all the way down, because that's where usually that save button is. And so if you're thinking, oh, it's going to save because you don't see a save button, scroll all the way down. There's been many times, especially when I first started, where I lost a lot of stuff, quizzes, assignments, pages, because I forgot about the save button at the bottom. Sometimes we're used to seeing something at the top, but it's not that way in the Canvas. So yeah, as Paul was saying, make sure you save.
And I see Uma asks, will there be support if we have problems? Yes, you'll be able to ask teammates on campus. Every campus has a digital learning coach associated with it. Dan is one of them. They have multiple campuses, but there'll be somebody else that you could reach out to for some assistance. You can reach out to me and I can do my best to help you out as well. We want you to be successful, so we'll do whatever we can to try to help out.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
My name is Uzumaka Okoye. I have a question.
Sure.
As a substitute, do you have access to Canvas outside the campus, or you can only have access to Canvas while on campus?
No, it's a web-based program. So if you are a long-term sub, you can access it from home if you needed to do some updating or anything like that, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, but if you're not a long-term sub, you don't have access to it.
No, because I don't believe that if you're just going in for a day, I don't believe that you'll probably be working inside of Canvas. In order for you to have access, you have to be added manually to a course. So if you're going in to teach, let's say, 4th grade, you might have to be added to 4 or 5 courses, and for it to be a manual add for one day to then turn around and come back out of it, I don't think that that's probably going to be the option that they're going to do. I don't know that for sure. If a campus wants to grant you access, they can. They have the ability to add you as a user inside of those courses. But the other problem that we run into is if you're only doing a one-day sub, then you also are not getting district credentials to log in. So you wouldn't be able to access our institution. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if Ms. Kibbe is still in here, but I think that's the way it is. It looks like she is still. A sub that just goes for day does not get district credentials, correct, Ms. Kibbe? Okay, so you would not be accessing those courses. This would only be in a long-term substitute situation.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Townsend too, yes, it is a lot of information. As I've said a few times, you will be getting access to this level up course that kind of walks you through a whole bunch of different things. That is the guide or manual cheat sheet that we're talking about. It walks through pretty much every part of Canvas. So you can get through there and be able to see it. One last thing to talk about with modules is some teachers, I want to say this so it makes sense. When we were doing the springtime, a lot of it was, here is the stuff that you need to complete for the week, and they were on their own as far as how they went through the content and when. In this fall, since it's going to be much more rigorous, and since our funding is dependent on us proving again that the students are accessing every day, there is something that is called a requirement that teachers may put on modules. And this is something I'm just making you aware, because if you're going in, they may already be set and you need to know what it is and how it works. Okay. If you look at my week of July 27 module, there's a complete all items thing here that is not appearing in these other modules. That means that there are requirements set for this one. If I click on the ellipses, the 3 dots at the end, and click edit, it's going to show you some requirements are down here. Students have to complete the requirements, and this box is checked so that they have to move through it in sequential order. In other words, this student couldn't just skip everything else and go down to take the quiz at the end. they are going to have to, in some form or fashion, look at these different pages and interact with it. For Monday's assignment, there's a mark done option, it says. Then it says for the chapter 1 discussion, it's a discussion, so they have to contribute to the page. I can add another requirement, and the next thing is PowerPoint. So, and that's an assignment. So I'm going to click on PowerPoint, and they have to submit the assignment. Or I could even say they have to, if it's a quiz, you have to score at least an 80 before you can move on. So we have ways to kind of hold the students accountable for the fact that they are actually interacting with these things the way it's supposed to. Okay. What did I miss? Other than social studies. So I could add one more and make for the social studies assignment that they need to contribute to the page. And I update the module. If somebody has already been working with the module, it'll tell you that the requirements have changed. Do you want to relock it so they have to do everything again or continue? Most times you probably will choose continue. Now for you, it doesn't look like much has changed here, but I want to show you what a student would see. So I'm going to go back to home, and then on the right-hand side over here, again, a student view. And if I go to modules and I look at my week of July 27, now if you notice, I can click on Monday's assignment, but I cannot click on any of these other ones. They're grayed out. It's because those requirements are on. So a student can't go to the end and take the quiz. They need to first go in and to Monday's assignment, and then the upper, they have to view this one the way it looks. And then after I put that one in, clicked on it, well, oh, I know why. It's because I remarked it done before. Fail by Paul. There should be a mark as done button over here, but since I chose to, let me reset student view. Maybe that'll do it. Let me try it this way. Modules, Monday's assignment. I don't know why it's not working. There should be a mark as done option there. Okay. Maybe it's because I've been messing with it so much today that it's messing up on me. After I finish Monday's assignment, then I should be able to go to the chapter 1 discussion. After I finish the chapter 1 discussion, then PowerPoint should open up, and we should be able to keep going that way.
And Ms. DeGoy I was going to mention it, but Ms. DeGoy also brought it up in the chat too.
Oh,
but as far as how does this, so your modules are usually just set up for a week at a time. So you can almost consider a module being a weekly lesson. And so she was asking, does this lock happen on a weekly basis or is it a daily basis? So the lock will only happen on the weekly basis because that's how long the module is. But for it to unlock, so for example, like Paul has a Tuesday content in there as a part of the lesson, but you'll notice that it's unpublished. So that would have to manually be unlocked by clicking on those little circles over there so that students can navigate through that. Even though it still has prerequisites tied to it, it would have to manually be done each day so students can see it. Otherwise, students can eventually just navigate through the entire week within one given sitting. So it's a mix of both, where it moves them on and also manually locks them.
I'm going to try this one more time. I think I found my mistake. So I had the data contribute to the page and they couldn't. I just clicked the wrong drop down. So here, Monday's assignment, now I have a mark is done button way over in the right hand corner. As soon as I click mark is done, this is me as a student saying, I have read all the information in here and I am ready to move on. Now if I go back to modules, you'll see that now chapter 1 discussion is available. The other ones are still done out. Now, with this mark is done option that I did here on this page, does it really tell me that the student read it or not? No, it doesn't. But if a student comes back and says, I didn't know I had to do that, you can say, well, really? Because on Monday, for this page right here, you marked it as done, which tells me that you read everything that's in it. Let's go see what's on that page. Oh, here it is. Maybe you should have known what it is. It gives you a chance to hold them accountable for what's going on.
So when it's marked as done, then it populates the next one.
Yes, now the discussion one is clickable for me.
Okay.
And if I come here and I reply, because I had to interact with this page, so I'm going to reply to it. Now if I go back to modules, now
Mhm.
PowerPoint is open, but social studies still isn't because I haven't done PowerPoint yet. It's just a great way to keep the students going in the order that we want them to. It's a nice sequential order.
And this will be different based on each student because everyone has their own login. So
Yes. So I'm doing a pretend student view here.
all
But
right.
as each student comes in now, which brings up a great point. Let me show you this. As a teacher, since I have a complete all items here, I have a view progress button up at the top. If I click on that, it will show me each of the students that are in here and how far they've gotten. Now the test student's not in here, so you can't really see it, but like I'm on student Panda 1, it is in progress. That student has completed the first couple things evidently, but they haven't done chapter 1 discussion or PowerPoint.
Okay.
So for this student Panda 2, it's unlocked and ready for them to do it, but they haven't completed anything yet. So it's a quick check for you as a teacher to say, hey, where is everybody?
Okay, thank you.
Dan? No?
I think it's good.
All right.
But it's a game changer there. And if you're even asked about a specific student, this is some great, basically data that supports you as far as their activity in there. There's a couple other things that Canvas helps show the progress of the student and how involved they are within your specific course. And of course, this is just to focus on your course. This isn't what the student is doing in all their courses. But yeah, this is a great way to kind of just help you kind of monitor what's going along. So in this case, for let's say student or you see like a lot of unlocked or a student not completing a lot of stuff, then that may be a red flag to send that student's name on to campus administration so they can reach out to them or something like that.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
What about if they're absent, like, even though they're at home virtual, what if they're really sick or something, or the death of the family? Does this allow them to go back from the beginning and kind of work through it, or how does that work?
Yes, ma'am. So if we keep it locked, as soon as you publish it, it will be available until you would unpublish it again. So they might be there on Monday. On Tuesday, they're sick. You have published the stuff on Tuesday. On Wednesday, they come back. They're still going to see Tuesday stuff, and then they should then see Wednesdays as well.
All right, great. Thanks.
And it's also great for when the test time comes, they can go back and visit any of this stuff again to look and see if it's, to revisit it to get ready for that test.
Almost like study guides. Great.
Yes, yes. Okay. Anybody else before we move on?
Yep, Judith, exactly.
Yeah, comparing teacher conferences, yes. Okay, so now we're going to get on from our organization stuff, and we're going to talk about feedback. I'm sure since you all have been in classrooms before, or most of you have, or if you've just been a student before, you know that if feedback is not given to students, they're not going to really care what they put in there. And it's true for anybody. It doesn't have to be a student. If I'm creating something or writing something or doing this project and I find out that nobody is looking at it after it's done, what motivation do I have besides my intrinsic motivation, which could fade fast, if I know nobody's really looking at it? And so whether you're doing formative assessments that are kind of, halfway through the week, I want to check and see where the students are by giving them a quick little quiz or an assignment for them to respond back to, or maybe a summative assessment at the end of the unit where you are really looking at having a grade that's going to be going into the official grade book in Skyward. We have to give feedback to our students. I did talk just a little bit about it briefly, but I'm going to go back to revisit it. We're going to look at or a couple of different ways that you can give feedback. And the first one is through discussion. So this discussion, and my teacher view, this is what I've put in there. And then on the right-hand side here, I have two numbers. One number is in black. That is how many replies have not been read by me yet or seen by me yet. and the other one is in gray, which is how many replies there are in all. As I scroll down and I can click on these or view these, that number will end up changing. It might not until I refresh my page now, but it gives me an idea of if anybody else has replied here. Now I'm in this test, or as the teacher here, and I see test student has put a couple of replies in. I could come back in as a teacher and click on reply and say, great answer. Or maybe give them a follow-up question on why do you feel that way?
And here's what you're gonna do.
Just doing something like that to a student will give them motivation to want to come in and be more detailed and create that learning experience, make that learning experience just a little bit better. Okay. I can also see that this is a graded discussion. So I have the ability to use something called Speed Grader to look at this as well. And so in a discussion, Speed Grader is kind of hidden under the ellipses here. But when I click on it, it's going to open a new window, and it shows me the submissions that this student has given. So 6 minutes ago, this is what this student did. I can view the full discussion to see all of it if I want to, but I can see it through this stream here. I am able to then, for this student, give them a grade. If I think it was a great answer, I might give them a 90. Okay. And then I can also come down here and I can add a comment. So maybe instead of giving the reply, I do it here in the grade book or the Speed Grader and say, great job, love your input, or whatever. It would probably be something hopefully a little bit more detailed than that. Okay. I am also able to click and add a file here, or I can record a video or audio file response for them, or they have a text-to-speech option that you can use as well. Once I submit this, the grade is done, that's been sent to the grade book, and this assignment comment has been documented. And as a student, if they go to the grade book and look, or as a parent goes to the grade book and looks, they can see the grade and they can see the comment that is there as well. So it's a great way for you to give feedback and for the parents to see that you are interacting with the child as well.
So essentially, yeah, there's two different areas you can give feedback. And what I would recommend is any kind of positive feedback. That would be fine if you did it as a reply inside the discussion. But if you had something more of a constructive kind of criticism, maybe do that within the comment section of that Speed Grader area. That way they're not necessarily embarrassed by their peers. Especially with our students in the times we're in right now, we got a lot of kids under a lot of stress and anxiety for lots of other different reasons. So praising them as much as we can in front of their peers is great, and then constructively criticizing them on the side to kind of support them. That's a great spot for the Speed Grader as well.
And Dan brings up a really good point that we didn't even talk about. In these discussions, every student can see every reply. So Dan could see what I put if we're both students in this course. So, and that's why he's bringing that up, to where the constructive stuff probably is best left off of this and as a different either discussion through the Speed Grader or a conference call that you have with them.
Unfortunately, on the parent side of it, they'll see that there's a discussion for a student to complete, but they won't be able to see any of the replies that the students are adding to this discussion. That's something that's blocked from the parents. So you can rest assured on that.
This next page here is an assignment. I just want to walk through quickly. Speed Grader is an option for assignments as well, and for quizzes. But if I click on Speed Grader again, one thing that I kind of jumped over a little bit. Oh, this one doesn't have anything. Hold on. I had one where I replied something I thought. Maybe it's this one. Oh, I reset the student. Give me 1 second. Dan's gonna sing you a song while I do this.
So as Paul's, I think, trying to say also, or share with you, if some of you have recently experienced like an online course, whether it be through college or maybe an alternative certification program or something like that, maybe you have been asked, hey, we need you to reflect on something, and we also need you to reflect on two of your peers, kind of thing. And so the beauty thing about this is you can share the same type of lesson or requirement for your students. And then that speed grader is going to filter out just that student that you have been selected, so you can see all their activity in relation to that discussion.
Great stalling technique, Dan. Good job.
Just
so now
I read the script and saw that's how we planned it.
So now let's take a look at the speed grader again, now that I put a fake assignment in there. So when I click on speed grader, this is what I wanted to show you mainly. Up at the top corner here, it's going to show you, and like in this case, there are only 6 fake students in this course. It tells me how many things have been graded and how many students are there. Right here, you see this little dot here, or if I click the drop down, I'll see all my students. If they're grayed out, that means they haven't submitted anything yet. If I see this orange circle, that means something has been submitted, but I haven't graded it yet. So I can click on that name and it pops up. Using the speed grader for something besides the discussion, in this case, they had to submit a website. So they maybe had to build a website and put it here. I'm able to view it here. I'm able to, again, give my grading and any kind of comments that I want. If they have submitted a text response, it'll show the text right here in this area. If it's a video, you'll have an option to watch the video here. So it's nice because you can see the assignment right there, and then you're able to grade it and put your comments in right next to it, okay? If I come in here and put a grade in, an 87, and hit enter, you see that that circle that was up here next to test student has now turned to a check mark. So that is telling me now that that has been graded and it's in my Canvas gradebook. Okay. Otherwise, the feedback options are the same. You can apply comments here, do your recordings or whatever. Dan, anything else that you want to put into that? Nope. Okay. All right. Now, this is something that Mr. Goy asked a while ago about Skyward and these grades. Okay. So there is an option that you can do inside the Canvas gradebook to pass things back to Skyward. Again, keep in mind, you may be taking 2 or 3 grades a week or more just as formative assessment to see where your students are and what you need to be supplying them with. I'm going to click on this little button. It'll take me to the gradebook. You can also usually see it in course navigation. But if I scroll over, I can see, like in the PowerPoint or the discussion, these are the 2 that I just got done grading. Okay. I have the ability under the Actions button here to sync to SIS. That means I want to sync grades to Skyward. Now I can't do it in here because this is not a Skyward generated course. It has to be an official course through Skyward. I will preface this conversation with this. Before you do this the first time, I would have somebody that has done it before sitting next to you. Because if something is tweaked a little bit, it takes a while to get it to recover. And it's not that it's a hard process, but it's kind of a nerve-wracking one because you're putting an official grade in. So the best bet for this would be, if you want to use this, to reach out to a department head or a team lead or a digital learning coach or an administrator to see if there's someone that could help you walk through this process the first time. Okay. But you would essentially sync or click on this sync to SIS option. It's going to show you the different grades that you have. It's going to show you the different grades that you have that are able to sync. You can check the ones that you want or get rid of the ones that you don't want and then sync it, and it'll send the grades to Skyward. Okay. I'm not going to get any deeper than that with this. What keeps a parent from doing the student's work? Well, that's the same question that's been asked for the last 200 years. If it's homework, what keeps the parent from doing it? Hopefully having some morals and wanting your student to learn and not the parent. In order for the parent to do the student's work, they would have to log in with the student's credentials into Canvas and complete the assignment. But there is no way for us to prove that they did or did not. I will tell you that the district is looking at some different options that where if they're taking official tests, that we can actually monitor the test while they're taking it, even if they're at home, so we can tell who is taking it. They have to supply information at the beginning and things like that. But that's about as good as we can get there.
Another great option is that if students are required to work math problems the new way, parents are clueless on how to show that work. So it's
that is very true.
Or if you're asking them to do some upper level physics, they run away from that as well too.
And if it's a kindergarten and they're having to do something and it looks like a 30-year-old did it or a 20-year-old, they probably did. Okay?
That's when grandpa's starting to complete the work.
That's
so.
right. Will our logins actually show the interface to Skyward? No, it does not show the interface to Skyward. You have to log into Skyward separately in order to see it there. But another good thing to tell you ahead of time, you do not go into Skyward and create this assignment. All you do is stick in Canvas and choose to pass back or sync the grade to the SIS, and it will put it into Skyward for you. It will name it, it will label it. Okay. One other thing while we're in the grade book that I think is an awesome little deal for you, even if these things are made for you, let's say I come to this PowerPoint that was due yesterday, and I have 6 students and only one of those little rugrats did it. I have the option here and these 3 dots right next to it, the ellipses, to click on it, and I can choose message students who, and it will open up a conversation or an inbox that I can send a message to those students. It puts the students in there, and I can say, this is late, if you're already losing points, make sure you get it in today or something like that. And it will be sent to the inbox in Canvas for all of those students. So it's a great quick way for you to communicate with those students that it's there. I wish that there was a way to check a box where you can also CC the parents on this. It's actually something that I have asked for through Canvas, and there's a lot of people who have. It just hasn't been done yet, and I can't promise that it will be. All right, we're in the tail end of this, ladies and gentlemen. I know you're disappointed that we're almost done with the 2 hours together, but we're going to push through a few more things on your global navigation so that we can, within Canvas, so that we can get you off on the right track. The first one I want to talk about is announcements. We hit on it briefly before, that you can do announcements through Canvas, and the most recent 3 will show up at the top of the course for you. If students or parents are using the app, it will also send them a notification if they have that turned on, letting them know. You can create a new announcement by clicking on the announcements option here in course navigation. And then in the upper right-hand corner, there's a big blue button that says plus announcement. That's how you add a new announcement. And when I click on that, look what shows up. That same old toolbar, the rich content editor, so we don't have to learn something new. Okay. In here, I can do all of the same functionality that I could do when I was building my page, or if I'm building a discussion or an assignment. I can add images, I can add videos, I can add links, whatever I need to. That's all capable of happening in here. There are a couple options that I want to talk about. The first option is the delayed posting option. So at the bottom here, there's a delay posting option. So you could sit down on a Friday afternoon, or more likely a Monday morning, and choose and make all of the posts, the announcements that you want to make for the week. Okay, so you can choose to delay the posting and then click on the little calendar and choose when you want it to go out. The one thing that I have to caution you on is if you choose a date, you also need to put in a time. If you do not put in the time, Canvas will send it out at 12 a.m. on that day. And if your parents or children sleep with the phone next to them, their phones will start to ding at 12 a.m. saying they have a message from you. And speaking from experience, it doesn't make me feel so good. Okay? So if you're going to choose the delay posting, please be sure that you come in here and add the time that you want. Check your AM, PM. Okay? There is also an option, it is not checked, it is not turned on, and please do not turn it on, to allow users to comment. 2 reasons why you don't want this to happen. The first reason is you get no notification if somebody has added to the announcement. So you could send out an announcement, somebody could ask you a question, and if you don't know that they did it and you never go look to see, it's never answered, and you've now made someone upset because they tried to talk to you and you just ignored them. The second reason also stems on the first reason. If you've got someone who is not happy about something that's happening, that would give them an opportunity to comment on your announcement, and it could be a negative comment that, again, everybody could see, and except you, because you haven't gone back to check to see if there's any comments being made. So the safest bet for that is just to leave that option off. Okay?
And also, I believe parents are able to see comments from other students too that they're not responsible for. So yeah, like Paul's saying, especially with negative comments, we don't want parents to see something crazy like that.
Even if it's a feud between students or parents, they could get into it in the middle of your announcement, which nobody wants.
I don't think parents can add to it, but they can at least view, which is,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah.
All right, two more. The first one is calendar. Okay.
Paul, before I move on.
Yes.
I don't know if we should be offended or excited, but they seem like they got excited when we said we're on the tail end here. So just throwing that out there. Carry on.
Hold on. Maybe I can put it in there too. I don't like listening to myself talk 2 hours straight, so I can't imagine how it feels for everybody else. See, this is another reason why we want Dan here. All right. So calendar is located in the global navigation bar, again, in this blue bar. And when I click on it, it's going to give me access to every calendar that I have from every course that I have access to. And it's spinning because it said, oh my God, Paul, you have a lot of courses. That's what it's thinking right now. It will pop up in a month view here. And you can see that there are some calendars here and they're color coded. On the right-hand side here is a list of all the courses that you could have access to its calendar. And you can see that some of them have colors and some don't. If it's blank, that means that calendar is not showing right now. So if you watch, these light blue ones, when I click on it to turn it off, I can't see my calendar options from my sandbox anymore. I click it again, there they are. Okay. You can have up to 10 calendars showing at one time. And then after that, Canvas says you're crazy. Nobody should have that many calendars showing at once. And they will not let you do any more. So you're going to have to turn some on or off if you want to do it. And quite honestly, if this is used by teachers a lot and you had more than 10 courses going on, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference in it either. So I think that's a great option for them. If you want to add something to a calendar, I can just click on the date or double click on the date. It takes a little bit usually for it to pop up. And this is just a regular event thing. So I can type in my title. I can change the date if I need to. I can choose what time it is. So maybe it's from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. because that's the time that my kids will be in my class. And then the other important one is right here. I'm sorry, it's all lit up. You've got to choose the right calendar. So if I'm doing this for my sandbox course, I need to make sure that I click the drop down for sandbox course. Once I submit, now I'm showing that my test is happening right here at 1 p.m. for my sandbox kids. Okay. If I double click, I can choose to edit it. I can change whatever I need to. I also have more options here. So if I click on more options, look what shows up again. By God, there's that editor one more time, so we can add our images, our videos, whatever I need to here as well. Okay. Other than that, it does function as a normal calendar. It does not sync well with anything. Like you can't sync back and forth between an Outlook calendar or a Gmail calendar. You can share things to another calendar, but they do not talk back and forth. You do have also, if you're more comfortable with the week view, you could do it this way. Those options are at the top. Also, one more thing while we're talking about the colors of these, if I am not happy with one of the colors that I have, I can click on the 3 dots and I can choose a different color, or if you're really, really cool and nerdy, you can put in whatever code the color is supposed to be if you're like a nerdy kind of artist or coder. But I can just click on that and just click apply and it will change it. That's most important, I think, for if you have 2 colors that are really close together, you might want to change them to make different courses. And yes, students can see this calendar. So any student that is in my Sandbox Wagner course will see whatever I put up here for that particular calendar. If you create an assignment inside of Canvas or a quiz and you put a due date on it, it will automatically show up in the calendar for that course as well. So they do talk to each other that way.
Hey, Paul, can you show something in
Sure.
the, like a new date or new event? And then click on the more options after you.
Oh, the duplicates?
Yeah. Oh, the, I don't know why it's there.
Is that what you're looking for?
Did you pick was that your calendar or was it one of your Sandbox calendars?
Probably mine.
I'm sorry, the 3 dots, if you click on the 3 dots.
Let it load, let it load. Let it load, let it load.
So at least speaking from a secondary perspective, because that's a lot of the classes that I see, usually their Canvas rosters are added based off of sections, which oftentimes are different class periods. So if you look above or just below the rich content editor, there's a box there that says use different dates for each section. So if you click on that, it's going to show basically the different class periods. So if you had a test that you wanted to know that was going to be handing out, but it wasn't going to be happening on the same date, you can just say, hey, final 6 weeks test at the top is the event title, but then you can put the date and the time for each of those class periods as far as when it's going to happen, instead of you having to make a new event for every single class period. So that's an option too. It's also been really helpful from that perspective.
Thank you, Dan.
And I think Paul mentioned too, like with all the colored calendars that you see on the right-hand side, Canvas can only handle 10 calendars being selected at a given time. Normally for you, that's no big deal. Normally for your students, that's no big deal. But sometimes you might hear maybe from parents that they can't see all their kids' stuff because they have multiple kids that they're looking over. So like for me, I have 2 kids in secondary, and so they have already up to 14 classes that I kind of have to keep up with via Canvas, but I can only see 10 at a time. But I understand that, so it's no big deal to me. So just to give you a heads up, there's a limitation on the amount of calendars you can be in there.
Okay, and the last thing that we have to cover is the inbox. Canvas's inbox, they call it conversations, but it really is their version of email. And so you're able to send messages to students and parents here if you would like, at any time, all in a group effort. So in the upper right-hand corner here or at the top, I've got to compose a new message. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to select what course you want to send it to. So this is global. This isn't inside of one particular course. You're going to have to choose, like I want to go to my, oh, is it not going to show up? Wagner. My Sandbox Wagner course again. After I select what course I'm in, it will populate a list of all of the students and observers that are into that, or even sections, as Dan said before. So if I want to send it, I can click on students. I can choose to send it to all students, or I can choose whatever student in particular I want to send it to. Okay, so I can say all students. I could also come back here and say observers, which are I can send it to all the observers of these people if I chose to. If I check something that has more than one person in it, they give you an option here to send an individual message to each recipient. I would suggest that you use that quite often for the reason of, if you check that box, then an individual message is sent to each student or each parent. And again, now they can't reply all, so that it's something that everybody gets. This way you're keeping it separate. It's a one-on-one conversation. So that's always a good option to do. You can, as Dan talked about before, if you have different sections in here, I can click on course sections and it'll show me if I want to only send it to section 2, I can do that. I don't have to try to remember what kids are in that section. It will do it for me. Okay. Then I can put in my subject. I can type in my body. I can attach a file, or I can do an audio or video recording again. And then if I click send, those people would be getting it. This is where, this is a bad example for me, but this is where all of your current Canvas messages would be. As you can see, I'm very clean and I keep my inbox as clean as it can be. But they would be here, and then by clicking on it, you could choose to reply or forward or do whatever you want to.